Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight, the Give and Go podcast. Apologize for a slight echo. We were trying to figure that out. Today we have a special guest, sophomore from Kingsburg, Lindsay Rivera. Lindsay won our Player of the Week, the Burger 25 Player of the Week. Lindsay, congratulations and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Doug, you want to start off with anything or you want me?
Yeah. Playing in the B Central, and we know that's not known as a powerhouse division, but it seems like you guys just rip each other to shreds every game. Like you never know who's going to win against each other, and it's always a battle. What's your coach's message coming into this season? Like, what did he tell you guys? And what was your goal coming into the season?
So our coach, we knew that this season we would have a good chance at winning most of our games, and just the team this year has been really great so far. So he's just always telling us that we know that we have the ability to do something, so we should just make sure that we use it and push through whatever happens during the game.
Point Beach, unfortunately lost the last game. But what do you think the big difference was from the first game? It was a close game. And then, you lost Friday, you lost by 20. What do you think the big difference was in those two games?
Honestly, the game that we just lost to the other day, we did try our best, but I think we were sped up because there was something on the line for the game. We had many more turnovers and most of our shots didn't really land. So I think that was a big difference from the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys qualified for the short conference tournament this year. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Any team that you guys are looking forward to playing, or is there somebody you guys would prefer to take on?
I would want to go against Point Beach again, just because I really want to be able to say that we beat them, because I don't know, they're one of the most aggressive teams that we've been against.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be really nice to be able to practice with them again, going against them, so we can prepare ourselves if we do go against another team.
What does it mean to the program, qualifying? Because it's been a few years. Doug probably could tell you the last time. I don't know, but
yeah, it's been a while.
But what does it mean for the program just qualifying, for the short conference tournament?
It does mean a lot, truly, because it's bringing attention to Kingsburg, and we're able to show what the students are able to do, and it's really nice to get the recognition that our players deserve, because like you said, we haven't qualified in a few years, so it does mean a lot that we were able to qualify for that.
What is it, you being a sophomore, back-to-back Player of the Week for B Central, what does that mean to you personally, you getting recognized, being part of the Kingsburg family?
I honestly never thought that I would get to the point where I am now, because in middle school, I just joined basketball as a sport because there wasn't really any other options. But now that I've been in the game for a few years, I really enjoy it. And just to see the difference from when I was younger up until now, it's really great to see what basketball has done for me.
Awesome. How tall are you?
I'm 5'7.5".
Okay. All right. So you being a sophomore, your team's pretty young, right? Overall team's pretty young.
Well, 3 out of 5 of the starters are seniors this year.
So what have the seniors, I mean, I know this is their first time qualifying for short conference tournament, so I'm sure they're excited, but what have they taught you as an underclassman that you can carry forward and teach the kids that are younger than you in the future?
Yeah, they've actually taught me a lot in the year and a half I've been working with them so far. So, my friend Kiki, she is just, an amazing, well-rounded player. So she just works hard in everything. If somebody fouls her and she falls, she'll just get right back up. So she's, resilient. And then my other senior, Scarlett, she's, an amazing shooter, and I could see the work that she puts into it. And then the last senior, Maddie, she's so strong and powerful. So I could see everything from each of these people, and then I could learn from it, and then I'm able to teach the new players. So it's just really great that I'm able to have the older students, like athletes, that I could learn from.
Kind of took one of my questions there, because I was going to, next year, if you graduate into 3 seniors, and you're going to be more in that leadership role, and you kind of answered what you could pass down to the underclassmen. Just talk a little bit, Coach Book. First, he was very excited that you were coming on this podcast. Just talk about what he taught you the last 2 seasons.
Mr. Book is a really great coach. Like, if I had a question or I was confused about something, he would make sure that he explained it to me and why he wanted me to do that, or why I was meant to do it. Because last year I was very nervous because I was a freshman, and so in the games when I would make a mistake, he would make sure to tell me why I made the mistake. And that really helped me, because now I've learned many things from him. And he just always has, like, make sure that the practice and the games are, like, a great atmosphere to be in. And he's just an amazing coach.
So you guys being up on the Bay Shore, I know a lot of schools, besides the schools in your division, don't go up and play the schools in the Bay Shore. So what is it about Keensburg High School that you love?
Like the high school itself?
Yeah. Yep.
I
your
love
high school experience.
So our high school is, like, not that big, so I love that you're able to know everybody. All the teachers know each other. I see all my friends in the hallways, even if I don't have classes with them, and, like, the players on my team. So I'm just, like, happy that I'm able to see them. And then later on I can see them at practice, and we just, like, grow, like, closer bonds than you would if you were in a bigger school.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a tiny school, so I know how that is. Better for me too.
Yeah.
You want to go to rapid questions? You got
Sure.
anything else?
Yeah, let's do it. No, let's do it.
All right, you could go first, Doug.
All right. Pre-game. Favorite song to listen to?
So this is actually funny, because every time we're warming up before a game, our school just has, like, a playlist that they play. And there's this one song, it's called We're Playing Basketball. And it's really funny. Like, my friends and I will just laugh, and it'll put us in a good mood, because it's kind of like a joke, because we're playing basketball while they play the song. So it's really funny.
Is that like the old school rap version by Curtis Blow?
Yes.
So you guys laugh like I was a teenager when that song came out. So that's how old I am.
I have no idea what you two are talking about right now.
You never heard Basketball by Curtis Blow?
I mean, I probably have. I don't know names and stuff like
You,
that.
like, add it to your playlist.
What's your favorite school subject?
My favorite school subject is French.
I took 4 years of French.
I like it.
I can't speak a word of it. Can't read a word of it. But I took 4 years.
Yeah, it's very confusing, but, I love it.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food? I love Chinese food, like, a lot. I really love Chinese food.
La Main?
Yep. That's my favorite.
What's your favorite TV show and movie?
My favorite TV show, I like the police shows, like SVU and, like, Law and Order and all that stuff. And then favorite movie, I don't really watch movies, but I would say, like, maybe The Hunger Games or Divergent, like those types of movies.
What are your plans for the future? What do you want to do when you graduate college?
When I want to graduate, I'm stuck in between going to work for the FBI or Interpol, because
Nice.
both of them sound pretty interesting to me.
Now, Interpol is the international, like, FBI kind of, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like 196 countries. It's
Wow.
crazy.
A lot smarter than I am.
What got you interested in that?
So I honestly don't really know, but like I said, like I like the police shows. So when I was younger, I would not like too young, but I would watch those shows, and I just love the idea that something happened and then you have to try to figure out what happened, or you could help people who have been through something. It's just really interesting.
Okay. So, I know before we started, you brought up you played field hockey too. When you were younger, did you play any other sports?
Yes, when I was younger, I did cross country, soccer, and gymnastics. And I used to play softball too, but not anymore.
Yeah, it's boring. What? So you said you've only been playing basketball since middle school. What is it about basketball that you really like?
I love that in a split second you could go from defense to offense because it's such a like quick game that it's just like exhilarating to like sprint down the court. You could steal the ball, you could run back, make a point. It's just really fun for me.
Now you have 160 points and 160 rebounds. What is it, that you like about, on the rebounding end, that because those are pretty good stats right there. So what makes you, want to attack and get the ball, attack the rebounds?
I love rebounding because you box somebody out, then you grip the ball, and then you could pass it out, or you could like fight for the rebound, and it's just like amazing when you get the rebound after you fought for it because like you worked for that and then you got something from it.
That's why I asked how tall you were, because I saw your rebounding numbers and I'm like, wow, she must be like 5'11", 6 foot tall. But no, that's really awesome that you're 5'7.5" and you really like the rebound. So that's cool. There's my other question. What's your favorite professional sports team?
My favorite professional sports team. Okay, I actually don't watch any sport at all. Like no sports. I don't know why. But my dad's like a big fan of soccer, so and the World Cup just happened. So I watched the World Cup like the whole thing through, and I actually was rooting for Argentina and they won. So I would say Argentina, I guess. I have no idea.
Listen, I like soccer too, and that's a good answer. But you should have seen Nick's face when you said soccer. I want to block him out. Like,
Soccer's my sport. Doug, I got one more question. If you got anything else,
no, you can go. Go ahead.
What? This would be the last question, Lindsay. What advice would you give your younger self, whether it's for academics, life in general, or sports, however you want to answer it?
I would tell my younger self not to worry about like other people because in middle school, like during basketball and in other aspects like school, I would always be nervous. Like I wouldn't want to do something because everybody else was watching or nobody else did what I was doing. But now I'll literally go to the store and like say like something crazy to my friend and like not really care. So I would just say don't care what other people think because it's your life and you're gonna see them once maybe and never see them again.
That's good advice. Yeah, and you'll be happier in the long run with that too. Yep. So, all right, Lindsay, thank you for taking some time out tonight, and good luck to you and Kingsburg in the short conference and states.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay, for taking time out today.
Yeah, it was good. Well, again, like we don't get to cover B Central very much, so it's always nice to learn about different aspects of stuff from kids that we don't get to see a lot.
Yes, and like always getting to get to know these kids off the court too is always fun. Like the whole FBI and Interpol thing. That's pretty
yeah. And it'd be interesting to follow her for the next couple of years because
young.
The numbers she's putting up this year, and she's only going to get better. So that's great.
Yeah, and only playing the sport for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So good for her. All right. Let's go through what games we were at this week.
I was only at one this week. We went to the Point Beach Keyport game,
Yes.
and which didn't really turn out to be much of a game, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Talking to Coach McGuire and Coach DeLuca before the game, I found out interesting. They only have 8 kids in their whole program,
Yeah.
which when I was coaching Keyport, be central, but they always had a big program. They always had athletic kids that played that maybe just didn't play basketball but were athletes, and to hear them struggling with numbers kind of stinks. But they're two great coaches. I mean, they played the game, they know the game, and it was tough to watch them struggle like that. But Point Beach is a really good team. We saw them. It was our first time seeing them this year. I saw them a couple of times last year. Well coached. But yeah, that was it was a little tough, but we're rooting for Keyport to, get some kids back in the program and turn it around.
Yeah, I mean they got good head coach, good assistant coach, JV. Well, I guess no JV program with only 8 kids, but Stacy was a great athlete, and Howell. It was tough, but Point Beach is clearly the premier crop, in that division. They just they obviously made some adjustments from their first meeting against Keensburg, who was their only challenge to the division title.
Right.
And they beat them by 20. And you heard Lindsay say, turn the ball over and the ball wasn't going in. So you could credit Point Beach on making some defensive adjustments too, creating those turnovers. So
and it'd be interesting. I know the short conference seeds come out next week, but where do you put a team like Point Beach? They're 14-2, playing the B Central. I mean, I don't much of their out of division games weren't. They played Toms River South, I think, this week. But what do you do with a team like that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's tough because you got that, and then you got a team closer, like a RBR who's only 13-6, I think. But 6 of their losses are to some top-notch teams. So, but that is out of our pay grade.
I guess it's up to their division rep to fight for them. So
yeah, so that'll be interesting. That is next Saturday at 3:00. I know we talked about that last week. We were going to find out. Cutoff is Friday. Seating meeting is 3:00 on Saturday. So as soon as we get the seeds out, don't know if I'll be there or not, but there's a really good game at 4:00 on Saturday, so might be there. So that was on Tuesday. Did I go to a game on Thursday?
You went to the Manchester Barnegat game.
That was Friday.
Friday.
That was Friday. Fun atmosphere. It was senior night down in Barnegat. It was a very fun atmosphere. Big students turnout from Barnegat. Talking to Coach Brustman after the game, he says it's always a good atmosphere, even when you had Destiny. And, it was always a good atmosphere when he said Manchester would be in Barnegat. Barnegat got out to the lead early in the first, and Manchester, it was tied going into halftime, and then Manchester just took over. And surprisingly, and I made sure I wrote about that in my recap, is the first 10 points, Devin only had 2 going into, to start the third. So getting that support from her teammates, they're getting better as the season progresses. They're knowing their roles. Devin's able to rely on them a little bit more, which is good. And then Devin just did what Devin did, halfway through the third and the rest of the fourth, getting to the hoop, getting to the foul line, sealing the game with her foul shots. I don't think she had any threes. It was one of those Zoe Brooke type games, just getting to the hoop. And her teammates had a couple of threes, but I don't think she did. And but Barnegat, they moved the ball well. Kara McCoy, Emma Thornton, very good. Also, Emma Thornton, not very as big as her rebounds would show, but she's a force average and a double double. Kara's pretty close to the double double. I think she's a little 8.1 rebounds when I did the math the other day. Riley Fitzpatrick's still getting into the role there since being eligible to play. They do move the ball good. Sometimes they force up some shots that they probably look for another pass, but they're going to be a fun team in the Shore if they can get that right matchup. Them qualifying for the Shore Conference. I don't think they qualified last year.
I think so.
Yeah, so I know they're excited about that. Had a parent say something to me before the game. The excitement, just qualifying for the Shore, it's a big deal.
It is
bigger than something bigger than
toughest
states.
division in the state. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's harder to win a game in the Shore Conference tournament than it is in states. Just facts.
Winning the Shore Conference tournament is harder than winning.
Yeah. Even winning a game, if you get stuck with SJV or RBC, you're going to be playing a game before. They always have the buys. Winning a game, that's an accomplishment too. It's harder to win that than 2 games in some of these groups sectionals.
No doubt. And they have Barnegat has a huge game tomorrow night.
Yes,
against Central. So
yes.
Central has to win in order to tie for the division with Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
Central loss would give the division to Manchester.
Yeah.
Assuming the rest of the games in a week play out the way they should. But Barnegat has a role to play. Has a chance to play spoiler tomorrow, and I'm sure they are looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, they were looking forward to Friday. Just Manchester had their number in the second half. So that was Friday. I don't think I went to a game on Thursday. Saturday was a bunch of good games. We'll talk about, obviously the game of the day was probably Wall Ocean. Wall was up 6 with 53 seconds left. Ocean created some turnovers, some big shots, 3-pointer. To cut it to 1. I guess they only hit 1 foul shot. I'm not sure. I wasn't watching the game. And then Janine hit a big shot at the buzzer, a jump shot to send it to overtime, and Ocean just took over the game, which is, you like to see, good teams, they find ways to win when their back's up against the wall. And Ocean definitely, their strength of schedule isn't the best, but Wall is a good opponent. And they had their back to the wall, and they showed they can pull those games out. So, watch out for them.
Yeah, I think we said I wasn't at the game either, but we were on the phone saying, when Ocean got it to overtime, most of the times when the team rallies in that last minute, they stun the other team, get to overtime. It's like they go into overtime and just something clicks and they blow them out. And unfortunately for Wall, that's what happened. Ocean just overtime, I think it was 10-2 in overtime. And, Ocean, again, we talk about trap games and games you're looking ahead, maybe.
Yeah.
Wall's a tough team, and I'm sure Lazor had them focus on Wall, but in the back of their mind, they had to be thinking Tuesday's big game against Shore for the division title.
Yeah. It should be noted, Kaden Clark, she was out. She was in uniform. Looked like she was limping a little bit during timeouts and stuff. Not sure. But the injury is
hopefully something she can come back Tuesday and play.
Yeah, I have a feeling this was a precaution, to make sure you don't want to tweak it worse. And I'm sure she'll be. I don't think anybody on either of those squads are going to miss Tuesday. So, which is at Ocean at 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah, at Ocean.
Yeah. A lot of good games this week. I know we're going to talk about matchups, but it's a big week for Shore Conference cutoff week, and it seems like you'd want the easier matchups going into it, but this week is a bunch of great games.
Yeah, and I don't, we talk about scheduling, and every year the lack of, the big teams playing each other during the regular season. Nobody plays St. John Vianney. Rumson and St. Rose played each other twice.
Rumson plays everybody.
I know,
Rumson
and
player, but
both those schools, they say yes to, especially Dave. He'll take on anybody. I mean, they're playing Rutgers Prep,
yeah, good for him.
Saturday. Yeah, good for him. But is that a matchup? You got RBC playing Franklin. I think the better matchup would have been Rutgers Prep and RBC, and because Franklin and Rumson had a really good game earlier in the season. So,
Right.
But Rumson, every week Rumson had a tough schedule. This week, Trinity Hall might have one of the hardest schedules. They got Rumson on Monday. They have Manasquan Thursday or Friday, and then St. Rose the next day.
St. Rose, yeah.
So they are playing the 6, the 4, and the 3 teams ranked in the Shore, entering Shore Conference tournament.
Yeah.
So they are going to have a good idea where they stand. How far they could get with their performances this week.
Good for Coach McCarthy because you want to have an idea where you stand. You're the number 5 seed team in the Shore. You're kind of running away with your division. You want to have an idea where you stand. You're going to end up playing one of those teams, I'm sure, at some point in the tournament.
Yeah.
So whether you show everything you have or the other team shows everything they have, but get a gauge where your team stands. I think that's a great job.
Yeah, that's and it's going to have big impact on the seeding for those, from 3 through 6. Yeah, it's going to affect 3 through 6. And St. Rose plays RBC on Thursday.
Yes.
Which St. Rose is missing, one of their key players, Maggie, but they had a big win Saturday against
Albertus Magnus. I hope you out there. Yeah. One of the a tough team from New York. Consistently one of the best teams. So that was a great win. And we saw freshman Jada Lynch step up with 26 points again in the big game, and it's kind of become an old hat for her.
Yes. So good test, and St. Rose right on track. Took them a game to figure, game or two to figure it out without Maggie, and it looks like Mary Beth has them going in the right direction. And they're always tough defensively, no matter who's on the court for them. So a lot of interesting games leading up to Saturday, 3:00. So I don't know. Me and Doug will plan when we'll do probably Sunday after the Coach's Choice. We'll try to get the podcast out for the preview. You want to talk about Coach's Choice real quick?
Sure.
Let me pull it up. I know you.
I won't be around. I got something going on again this weekend, but I hopefully will be there for some of the games on Sunday. I know there's a couple of games on Saturday. And a couple of short teams playing Saturday.
Saturday, you got Notre Dame and Homedale.
Okay, should be a good matchup.
Heightstown and Ocean.
We saw Heightstown a couple of weeks ago, and that should be a good game.
Yeah. St. Thomas Aquinas and Wall.
Okay, I haven't seen St. Thomas Aquinas this year, but they're always pretty well coached, and should be a good one.
Yeah, and Wall is playing for, they're trying to stay in states. They're not going to make Shore conference tournament. I think she said they were the 16. Coach Wisher said they were 16 right now in Group 2, Central Jersey Group 2. So they are playing to stay alive in states. So those are Saturday's games, only 3 games. Sunday, you open up with Ewing and Manasquan.
Good one.
Top 15. They're both top 10 at some point.
Ewing just played SJV, and I think it was a 14-point game. We know Ewing's got some talent, so should be a good one.
Next game, Rutgers Prep, Rumson. Paul the 6th for St. Rose. St. Rose playing another top 5 team in the state.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't around this weekend, but I did read something. That Paul the 6th have a big game this weekend. That the officiating was kind of wonky in that game. I don't know.
That was St. John Vianney game.
What was it? Okay.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know about Paul the 6th. I know St. John Vianney game. There were some issues with officiating.
Yeah.
Franklin versus RBC. Montclair Immaculate versus St. John Vianney. I don't know what Montclair's ranked now. I know they were top 5.
Yeah.
1 point they still could be. I don't
Very
really.
tough team.
Yeah. Just think St. John Vianney ends the season with them, and then Christ the King a couple days later.
Murderers Row.
That's the regular season for them. The last game is Long Island Lehigh versus Saddle River Day. They got it wrong on here. Saddle Day River. 2 out of short teams, obviously. I'm not interested in that game, but some exciting games, all weekend. They always do a pretty good job with the coach's choice.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
So if you could get out there, you'll see some very good basketball.
Mm-hmm. A lot of talent in that 2-day extravaganza.
Yeah. You want to just we'll go through the divisions real quick.
Sure.
I think most of them are locked
Pretty
up.
same from last week, right?
Yeah, they're locked up. A North Trinity Hall 17-2. They're 7-0. They clinched. A North Howell 5-2 in the division. They do play on Tuesday. Trinity Hall has 4 games next week. 3 against.
Tough.
Yeah, it's just hope people,
Again,
girls stay healthy.
We just talked about games, and they have 3 games against top 10, and then you got Howell right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Howell looking, hey, we might be able to take advantage of them playing these 3 big games this week.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm sure Matt will have Trinity focused and ready to go.
Yeah. A Central St. John Vianney. They beat Homedale last week. Wrapped up that division. Not like there was any doubt in that division. Toms River North 9-0 in the division. Jackson Memorial 7-2. All wrapped up for Toms River North. They have an interesting game on Wednesday against Homedale. Good test for both those teams entering. Sure, they both want some momentum entering the short conference tournament. Unfortunately, Homedale faced the number 1 team and the number 2 team in the short conference last week.
Yeah.
So they'll look to get back on track this week, and Toms River North would be a nice win going into the seeding.
Those guys, they're right in that 7 to 10 range for seeding, and that could do a lot for one of those teams.
Yep. B North RBC 9-0, Rumson 7-2. Rumson's both losses came to RBC. RBC wrapped that up this past week. B Central Point Beach wrapped up the division Friday, beating Kingsburg by 20. Manchester Central, one of the 2 divisions that are still up for grabs.
Tomorrow night, that'll be decided.
Yes, Manchester plays Pinelands. Unless something drastic happens, Manchester win that. And Central, like we talked about, Barnegat's going to want to play spoiler, and they have the weapons that could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So people, we'll give you updates for that tomorrow.
I think I might go to that one if I get a chance. I'm going to go there.
I'll see what my transportation situation is. C North, St. Rose and Manasquan are going to end both 8-1. And C South, we talked, Shore and Ocean, both 8-1. Tuesday at Ocean. Sure, both teams will be ready, and that's going to be a fun one.
Yep, I'm sure we'll be there. I'll be there. You'll be there.
Yeah, I'll try to be there. Yeah. It's my mother's birthday. We'll see.
Tough one.
Yeah. I'll try to get there though. But so those are the divisions. 2 divisions still up in the air. We'll definitely. One of us will definitely be there Tuesday. Hopefully, can get to. Is it at Central or at Manchester? I mean, at Barnegat.
It's at Central.
Okay, well, that's right around the corner from you. So.
Yeah, 5 minutes from me. I'm good.
Okay. Matchups of the week should be posted hopefully today. Team of the week. I should be reaching out to the team probably today or tomorrow. Look forward to voting. Did they post that on Tuesday or Wednesday last week?
Wednesday. They posted it Wednesday last week. So
Wednesday player.
Wednesday
Player of the week. The division player of the weeks, and the voting will be up on Wednesday. Top 10 will be posted tomorrow on the website on Shore Sports Network. And that's it I got.
Next week, Sunday night, I know Nick said we'll be doing it after the coach's choice, but we'll be doing the short conference seeding. We'll talk about the seedings and then have our predictions for the first
round.
2 rounds. And we're hoping to have a special guest. We have one special guest wrapped up for it, and we're hoping to have another to do a little round table with our predictions and talk about the short conference seeding.
Yes. So hopefully we can get that finalized. I just want to count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marbles in right now. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. You got 24 teams in right now. Keyport 7 and 8.
At 24 teams, that means the top 8 would get a bye. The bottom 16 would play each other. So that could create some good matchups in that first round.
Yeah.
Given the top and the top usually 5, we kind of know where they're going to stand, 4 or 5. So, it's nice to get a bye that first, especially if you're playing 4 games this week. Get a bye that first round. But you said like Keyport could sneak in. That could make it 25. I don't know if there's anybody else really close to the
Henry Hudson 7 and 7. I counted them in.
Okay.
Marlboro's 9 and 8. I'm clicking them right now. They got Freehold and Neptune. And Shore. No, Shore's after. All right, so yeah, they got Freehold and Neptune.
Okay, that's doable.
Yeah, and there was one other team. Henry Hudson 7 and 7. Rainey's 8 and 7.
Who do they have this week?
They have Cavalier Christian.
Okay.
Neptune.
8 and 8. Okay. All right.
And
so
they end with Jackson Memorial, but that's after. That's the 4th. That's Saturday. So that game don't count towards seeding. Short conference. So they get to. I don't know anything about Cavalier Christian, but I'm assuming
pretty much they have to win 1 out of 2, and I'm sure
Cavalier Christian's that win.
Cavalier Christian, right?
So, okay. Yeah, so it looks like you got
25.
Yeah, 24, 25.
Now.
Let me just click Keyport real quick.
Keyport picked up the Academy for Urban Leadership and beat them. And then in a big game on Friday night against Hudson defeated them. So I think, what are they, 7 and 8, 7 and 7?
They're 7 and 8. They got Asbury.
Okay.
And Manville.
I don't know anything about Manville, but they're going to have to win both games to get in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, which is interesting, they got Manville listed for the 31st and on the 4th. So, be curious when that game really.
Maybe they probably won't play Manville.
Yeah.
Stay at 8 and 8.
Yep. So that's interesting. Don't know.
A lot of maneuvering going to happen this week.
Yes, and then after that, we'll start focus on PowerPoints and where teams start seeding for states.
Yep.
So, all right. I'm done. I'll.
Big week this week. Just follow us on Twitter, and we'll try to get you as many updates as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I know Doug will definitely be there Tuesday. I'll try to get there tomorrow too. I want to see. I want to get my eyes on Barnegat again. And later in the week, a lot of good games later in the week. So I think I'll probably be at St. Rose RBC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thursday. And I think that's also Trinity Hall and Manasquan. It's Thursday.
All right. Yeah.
So
sounds good.
But yeah, a lot of good games end of the week. So good luck to everyone. Stay healthy, especially if you're playing 4 games next week.
Yeah. Again, thanks for following us on this and following us on Shore Sports Network, and have a good week.
Yes, and thank you, Lindsay Rivera from Keensburg, for taking some time out today.
And thank you, Burger25, for sponsoring the Player of the Week.
Yes.
So I know it's a little trip for Lindsay to get down to Toms River, but as Nick and I know, it's well worth it.
Well worth it. So I'm sure summertime, the kids down the shore area, a little closer, Seaside and Point Pleasant. So, all right. See you guys.
Take care.